Where to buy BPC-157 and TB-500. Okay, so at East West Health, I've been obsessed with only sourcing the highest quality of peptides from licensed pharmacies. And I'm going to show you in this video why I'm so dogmatic about having pure peptides and having the highest quality available, because I believe your health depends on it. The other thing I'm going to show you is exactly how to stack these peptides, where not to buy them, and then also describe to you exactly what the process looks like when you work with providers who are peptide experts, and how to use labs in conjunction with the peptides and then purchasing them from a licensed pharmacy. So let's jump in. So first of all, there's a lot of things out there. You look on the internet, and if you Google peptides, you're going to have some company that's following you around trying to get you to buy their products. Now, I love the free marketplace. I love the fact that the current administration, RFK, has openly talked about the need for peptides to be available to the market in a safe way. One of the things that's happened in the United States is the regulations have actually caused the marketplace to go into purchasing peptides that may not be safe. So when you source peptides, yes, we all have had to scramble when certain rulings take place, like in September of 2023, where the FDA, they had this list of 15 core peptides, and a lot of supplements like L-theanine were on this list that we use regularly. But now they're saying, please don't compound these because we have serious safety concerns. And that now has been reversed. It was quietly reversed about 3 months later. What we realize is that there's so much beauty and there's a capability of using these peptides, but when you don't get them from the right source, we have seen potential side effects. So at East West Health, we only use compounding pharmacies that are 503A or 503B licensed facilities. And what that allows us to do is to know that these peptides, that the raw material, not only are you getting raw material from the highest quality sources, but these peptides, as they're ran through this mass spectrometry, they're being sequenced in the right way. The covalent bonds have the right energy structures to them. They're folded just right so they mimic the peptide expression of your own body. And when you have that, you'll notice the receptors on the cells are much more selected. They'll allow the peptides to access these pathways and turn them on in ways that some of these poor quality peptides just don't give you the same benefit. And so there's nothing that's worse to me when people say, I've been using peptides and I don't notice any difference. And I say, okay, where are you sourcing them from? Are you working with a physician or a licensed provider who actually understands peptides, or are you just doing it on your own? And there's a lot of do-it-yourself people out there in the peptide world, which I love you because that's how I got into it. There's nobody on my team that knew anything about peptides. So I spent 3 years of my life just going to conferences, learning from other doctors, and then seeking out great sources of peptides. And I realized that the research use only peptides, some of those peptides, I didn't notice anything. Some actually made me worse. And then when I'd get them from compounding pharmacies, and the price was not that much different. Everyone always says, well, it's so much more expensive that way, but it's really not. And I believe your health is worth the investment. And especially having a team to guide you in the process is really important, because the enormous benefits that I've seen from peptides is that we can now get somebody to an optimized state in a matter of 6 months versus what used to take us 3 years, or we didn't even have the capability before these medicines. So what is a 503A and a 503 compounding pharmacy? Well, these facilities, they're monitored by the FDA, and they all adhere to the good manufacturing process, the GMP certification, but these pharmacies also are regularly inspected. Now, I remember one of the pharmacies that we work with where the pharmacist he's got a PhD in muscle building and the IGF-1 pathway. And he is an athlete himself, and he told me about the time that the FDA, they showed up and they did a complete analysis of everything that he was doing in his pharmacy. Over the course of about 90 days, he was sweating it like you and I would be if you have any kind of inspectors or investigators coming into your practice or your facility, but he passed and they had no issues. And that was, one of the things that we look at. You want to make sure that it's not just written But when it's an FDA-approved facility, that means you can have inspectors that go in to make sure that they do what they say they're going to do. And that's one of the beauties of medicine in the United States is, yes, the FDA can sometimes put in restrictions that we don't like, and they put up guardrails. But at the other side, they are looking out for our safety. And so one of the reasons why we do want to work directly within the regulations is because it's safer. And that's one of our goals at East West. We say no death by neglect. So we want to run the right tests at the right time and then put together the right plan of action so you're not neglecting your health. We think when health improves, everything improves. So we want to make sure that health improvements are top of mind for us in your treatment strategy. And then the third thing, and this is why safety is so critical, is because we want your next decade to be your best decade. And in order to do that, we don't want to compromise any future health by utilizing pharmacies that don't meet that high standard set by the FDA. So the other thing is you want prescription-only access. And what that requires you to do is work with people who are licensed, who actually understand exactly what your medical history is, what things could be problematic, what medications you're on, because there can be some adverse side effects if you're on certain medications when you're using these peptides. And if you have somebody who's got the knowledge and they have the licensing, not only can they be your best support person, but they're going to listen deeper and they're going to uncover the things that you don't realize could be problematic. And they'll help you more selectively choose the right peptides based on your health goals and based on your medical condition so that you can get healthier in a much shorter period of time, which will save you money, but it also saves you time. A lot of people ask me, well, why would I purchase peptides from you? I can just go get them from my friend. And I'm like, okay, what pharmacy does your friend own? Well, he's just a supplier of peptides. And I say, okay, does your friend run your labs? Are they looking at your medical history? Are they taking into consideration the things you've done in the past, what your diet looks like, your exercise protocol? And he's like, well, no, as a matter of fact, not. And I said, well, okay, so basically you're just using peptides from a conversation that you had and some blogs that you've read. That could be more problematic than helpful. What if you actually were more scientific about this and you learned what peptides are going to move the needle in the fastest direction possible? And not only do I believe is the smart way to do it, but if you're running the right labs, you can also uncover some threats that you didn't even know were lurking in your health, and you can avoid some major catastrophes. Because peptides are not the first thing that you want to do. Peptides, if you're doing it in the right way, and when you're purchasing peptides, you want to do it in a way that's going to get you the results you're after. Just like the FDA has very high standards, our physicians at East West Health also adhere to those standards and then some. Because one of the most important things is not just the safety of the peptides, making sure you're on the right peptides at the right time, but one thing that's missing when you're doing the research use only peptides is the proper dosing. And so you may not be getting the result because you're underdosing these peptides, or you may be overdosing on the peptides, and you might be expressing a very expensive urine because of that. So the dosing is one of the most important factors in working with a prescribing physician. So the way that you can work with experts, some of the world leaders in peptides, East West Health, I've been told we're one of the top prescribers of these novel molecules. And all you need to do is go to agelessfuture.com and book a consultation with someone on my team and get your blood labs ran. And we'll run a deep analysis of your blood work. We'll also look at stool testing. We'll do mycotoxin testing because many of you live in moldy environments. But we'll also look at the interferences that are getting in the way of you looking, feeling, and performing your best, no matter what age you are. So if you like this content and if you're ready to go to the next step and you really want to dive in deeper on what thymosin beta-4 does and BPC-157, then go to the next video and I'll see you there.